We also have some new theorems and postulates to take a look at. The linear pair postulate says if we have two angles that form a linear pair, then they're supplementary. If two angles are supplementary, then they add up to 180 degrees. We also have a right angle congruence theorem, where all right angles are congruent to each other. So here's the proof. Angle 1 and 2 are right angles, that's given. The measure of 1 is 90, the measure of 2 is 90. That's your definition of a right angle. Now it looks like I've got the transitive property of equality because we said 1 equals 90, 90 equals 2, therefore 1 equals 2. And I'm going from equals to congruence, definition of congruent angles. We have a congruent supplement theorem. If I said angle 1 and 2, if I smushed them together, they're going to make a linear pair. So for example, let's say angle 2 is 100 degrees and angle 1 would then be 80. Well, if I decide to smush angle 2 with angle 3 together, angle 2 is still 100, angle 3 would have to be 80 because they also would make that linear pair. Therefore, the two supplements to angle 2 are going to be congruent. Here's the proof. First statement is given. Angle 1 plus 2 is 180. 3 and 2 are 180. That's your definition of supplementary angles. Then we're using that transitive property. A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C. Then it looks like I'm subtracting the measure of angle 2 from both sides. So I'm using the subtraction property of equality. We go from equality to congruence. That's your definition of congruent angles. We also have a congruent complements theorem. So instead of them adding up to 180, they add up to 90. Similar in proof, definition of complementary angles, transitive property of equality, subtracting the measurement of angle 1 is the subtraction property of equality. We go from equal to congruence, the definition of congruent angles. Is about vertical angles. We know that they're congruent based on definition. Here's the proof. Angle 1 and 3 are vertical angles, that's given. Angle 1 and 2, 2 and 3 make the linear pair. That's a definition of a linear pair, and we can see that from the diagram. Angle 1 and 2 are supplementary. 2 and 3 are supplementary. That's the linear pair postulate. That says if we have pairs of angles that are linear pairs, therefore they're supplementary. Next, we're going from supplementary to say these two angles are congruent. Now, if you notice, 1 with 2 are supplement, 2 with 3 are supplement, therefore 1 and 3 have to be congruent. That's your congruent supplements theorem. We went through all of these postulates in this video, and we'll take a look at some examples. Find the angles and what postulate or theorem was used. If I know the measure of angle 1 is 112, I know the measure of angle 3 is 112. That's that vertical angles congruence theorem. If I know that 1 and 2 are a linear pair, then I know they are supplementary. Take a look at your reasons. This is going to be 68 degrees, therefore this is 68 degrees. And that same example is used for B and C, but we've changed the measurements. We're using the vertical angles theorem and the linear pair postulate. Angle 1 and 2 are complementary. 2 with 3 are complementary. 1 and 4 are complementary. Well, if I know 1 and 2 are complementary and 2 and 3 are complementary, 1 with 3 will be congruent because they're both complement to the same angle. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. If angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 and 1 is congruent to angle 4, then we know that 1 is congruent to angle 4. If we take a look at the middle of our diagram, angle 8 is a right angle, and therefore 6 is a right angle. And we know that right angles, these will make a linear pair. So the rest of this would also be a right angle. 7 would be a right angle. Example 3, find the value of the variables in the figure. What are the angle measures? This is using that vertical angle congruence theorem. Set the x's expressions equal to each other and solve. Set the y values equal to each other and solve. We did work on this in our last unit on geometry basics. We'll get our x value to be 25 and our y value to be 14. We plug those in and we'll find our measurements as such. Example 4, using a proof. Angle S is a right angle, RTS is 40, RTU is 50. Those were all given. Next, we have that STU is equal to RTS plus RTU. That's your angle addition postulate. When we put these together, we get the bigger angle. The measure of STU is equal to 40 plus 50, substitution. Therefore, the measure of angle STU is equal to 90. We just simplified. Next, we say that STU is a right angle. That's your definition of a right angle. And lastly, if STU is a right angle, and we know that S was a right angle, they're going to be congruent because of the right angle congruence theorem. Example 5, the figure shows the side view of a picnic table. Angle 1 and angle 4 are congruent. We have to prove that 2 with 3 are congruent. The first reason is given. Angle 1 and 2 are a linear pair. 3 and 4 are a linear pair. That's your definition of a linear pair, and we can see that from the diagram. Next, we say the linear pair postulate. Well, if they're linear pairs, then they will be supplementary. If we know angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, angle 1 is congruent to angle 4, and we know these are linear pairs, then angle 2 and angle 3 will be congruent, and that's using your supplements, congruent supplements theorem. The rest of the video, we have our you try examples, so go ahead and try them, pause the video, and come back and take a look at the correct answers. Set your two vertical angles equal to each other and solve. And take your value of x and then substitute it in. Given that 4 is a right angle, if 4 is a right angle, that's given. The measure of angle 4 is 90. That's your definition of a right angle. Angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent because they are vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. We go from congruence to equals. That's your definition of congruent angles. We're going to substitute in the measure of angle 2 to be 90. That's your substitution property. We know that angle 2 plus angle 4 will equal 180. That's our simplify, but also substituting. Therefore, angle 2 and angle 4 are supplementary. That's your definition of a supplementary angle.